5,770 years ago by Mendel Tilden. So I'm working on selling ads for our yearly calendar, and I approached the local store owner with a form and a copy of last year's edition. I show her the beautiful full-color layout and all the Jewish pictures and art spread throughout the pages. When she finishes flipping through it, what is the number on the front? I responded quite simply, the amount of years since creation. There was silence. "You're not serious?" she asked. She wasn't sure if I still lived in the Dark Ages or was in complete denial, and I was asking her to trust me with her money? There's no 30-second soundbite that would be able to answer a millennium-old question. I went home, put my thoughts on paper, and dropped it off at her business. Because really, have you ever heard of carbon dating? Aren't there stars a million light years away? Have you ever heard of the word dinosaurs? It is kind of hard to believe in the Torah when you get stuck on the validity of the first chapter. No, the first sentence. Well, clear your mind and give me a second to present my case. Let us take things at the face value. God created the world in 6 days. Adam and Eve are standing around in the Garden of Eden. Now, what does that garden look like? Remember, the world is only 6 days old, and grass was created on the third day. Was it a garden? A field with seeds? Small little buds looking like a nursery? Doesn't seem too exotic or paradise-like. On that train of thought, when they ate from the tree, how was their fruit if it was only a 3-day-old tree? How many rings were in that tree? And wait, how did Adam and Eve reach to get it? Or, for that sake, even walk, if they were 2 hours old? And that snake, he was 2 days old. Boy, did they grow up quick. We must be missing something. When you sit down and start reading your favorite novel, the first chapter starts off with John, a young 32-year-old stockbroker, and his wife, Amy, an interior designer with a degree from Princeton, walking up their driveway into their 2-story colonial in downtown Boston. The book continues for another 244 pages and occurs over a 5-month period. But when you get to the bottom of page 1, how old is the storyline? It depends. The author thinks that for the sake of this story, it is a few seconds old, but in truth, both John and Amy have a few decades behind them. That they were born and grew up and went to school and met each other and then married and bought a house are all relevant parts of the story, but those details are placed throughout the following pages as the author deems necessary for the narrative. Sometimes you get those details and understand how they tie into the story, and sometimes they remain a mystery. But although the characters are 32 years old, the story is only a few seconds old at this point. These two characters have a long and detailed history, but the book doesn't actually begin until the author chooses to lift the curtain as they walk up their driveway. So too, when God created the world, He slowly lifted the curtain over 6 days to reveal a rich and complete world with a long history and much planning that went into every detail. And in that storyline there were dinosaurs and trees with rings and animals maturing and continents shifting and people growing up and light traveling great distances across the galaxies. And at that right moment, exactly 5,770 years ago, he opened the book to page 1.